Hello, everyone, and welcome to this special edition of Profiles in Risk. I am your host, Nick Lamparelli, and as you can see from our Brady Bunch panel, to my left, I have Carly Burnham, and to my bottom, looking down, I have Alice Brady. Tony Kanyas. Carly, Tony, hello.
How's it going?
Nick, how are you?
I'm doing great, doing great. This is a special edition of Profiles in Risk, so we're going to be discussing Insurance Nerds Day, our first event, something that we've been wanting to do for a long time. I would say something we've thought about the planning process and how it would actually come about, and we're here on this episode to actually discuss that. So I'll kick it off. I'll start with Carly. Can you give us the specifics? Insurance Nerds Day, what is that?
So Insurance Nerds Day is going to be on October 6th in Chicago. It's a Saturday, and we're very excited to be partnering with Gamma Iota Sigma. Gamma Iota Sigma will also be in town for their annual conference. So we're going to have a bunch of interns hang out with us, and we're hoping to see a lot of our young professional audience coming out for some networking. We're going to have learning labs, Insurance Jeopardy hosted by Nick, and then a very exciting portion that's going to be TED-style talks in the afternoon. We have a wide diversity of speakers, and we're really excited to see who turns out and what we can all learn together.
Carly, what can someone expect from a learning lab?
So the learning labs are designed to be extremely skills-focused. If you've ever been to a traditional insurance conference, you often go and sit with a group of people and listen to a speaker or a panel for an hour. And we thought to ourselves, in these hour-long sessions, we'd really like to see the speaker get up and share detailed stories. If you've read When Words Collide, Bill walks through how to actually read a policy and settle claims. And we're going to have exercises like that. We have some resume-focused exercises and even mock interviews set up. So we are excited to work through those and hope those will be a little bit more intimate than your traditional speaker to wide audience in front of the room.
Yeah. Tony, you've been a huge fan of TED-style talks. You're always talking about it. You're always sharing them. Can you talk a little bit about, so this is basically your baby. It's come to fruition. Can you talk about what you had in mind and why you think the TEDx style is going to resonate with anyone that's coming to this event that's interested in insurance?
So for years, I've been a huge fan of TED Talks, and I've been to just a couple hundred of insurance conferences at this point, and I always have a lot of fun, but I'm a giant nerd. And in an insurance conference, you generally have somebody get up there and for an hour or a panel talk about what's going on in the industry, what they've been doing, or what they think is going to happen in the industry. But it's not very applicable to kind of the day-to-day work that most of us do. And also, those conferences tend to be expensive. They tend to assume that you have employer support. And so we always thought that there were two things that were missing. First of all, it's hard to keep your attention on for an hour, and number two, it's hard to get employer support for an $800, $1,500 conference kind of thing. So I always wonder, why is there no TEDx insurance? So I try to sell the idea before at employers I've been at, and we've talked about it multiple times, and finally the opportunity came around to partner with Gamma Iota Sigma and kind of take over Saturday of their conference. And so of course we have to jump on it. So basically the short 7 to 15 minute talks are very motivational. They're quick hit, interesting, from a lot of speakers that we've met before and people that we've seen speak before. And basically you'll leave pumped from the TED style speakers, and you leave ready to take on the industry, so to speak. And Carly's piece, the skill labs, the difference between a normal 1 hour session at a conference and this is that this is very much something that you can learn and take back and get better tomorrow. Something that you get a payback immediately rather than like a 40,000 foot view of something that's going on in the industry.
What's interesting about the TED Talk styles, I've been to a bunch of different conferences, and invariably what happens is a lot of the presentations go on for too long. So it's almost like the Twitter of conference styles. So if you get like a really, there are certain topics that on Twitter you can get a good thread going, and it's just like, wow, I just learned a lot in a very short period of time. And I sort of get like from a TEDx, it's like you remove the fluff from the presentation, you get right to the meat of it. It's boom, it hits you in the face, and then boom, you go right to the next one. I love that style.
And I get why most conferences are not this way. It is harder to give a smaller, I have to do it myself for the first time at the IICF Women in Insurance conference in Chicago earlier this year. And that was mostly a panels conference. They only had 2 or 3 TED style talks, and I was one of them. I can do my 1 hour session on a moment's notice. I stressed about this one, and it was hard. But then the feedback was that they loved it. It's really amazing how a short session like that can really whet somebody's appetite to the topic you're talking about. But yeah, it's hard. The speakers need a lot more preparation. We've had to work with them and have conversations and remind them that of the limitations of the time and help them figure out how they're going to deal with that.
Yeah, that reminds me of that story of the guy that wrote a long letter, and right away he apologizes. He's like, I'm sorry this letter is so long. I didn't have time to make it short. It's hard. It's hard to like cut out all that stuff and really make it focus. So I love that.
Yeah, it's generally
and the TED Talks are in the afternoon. The learning labs are in the morning. I'm assuming lunch will be served?
Yes, Gamma Iota Sigma is generously providing lunch, so we will have lunch at this first Insurance Nerds Day.
Okay, so let me see if I'm missing anything here. It's on a Saturday, so there aren't really any excuses. It's $99, so there really aren't any excuses. There's skills building learning labs in the morning. There are TED style talks in the afternoon. Right away, Carly, that makes this extremely different than any other conference I've attended. Why do we want to do it that way? What's the rationale for making it so different than all these other conferences?
Well, you missed 2 things.
Okay.
Besides the rationale. So the other part is Insurance Jeopardy around lunchtime.
Oh.
And then the really exciting part is that we're doing the closing reception with Gamma Iota Sigma. And that's with the interns and students who are in that fraternity. But what's exciting about that is that it's going to be a really fun time. And I know that Noelle is setting up some great entertainment, which is going to be a little bit different from any closing reception you've been to at other insurance events. So we're excited about that too. But we did it this way. Tony mentioned briefly that we've been to lots of insurance conferences. And we both enjoy the high-level talks and enjoy the longer sessions. However, we know that it's unrealistic for everyone, especially starting out in their careers, to get employer support. And we know that there are big skills gaps that are happening in the insurance industry right now, and we want to help fill those gaps by giving you actual workable skills to bring home.
Yep.
It's hard. In your first few years of insurance is probably when you need the most help when it comes to understanding the industry, to growing your skills and to network and kind of find your niche where you're going to be great in the industry. And those are exactly the years where it's very hard to get employer support, right? In those entry-level jobs, it's any expense is going to get compared to your salary. So if you're not at a higher pay band yet, you're very unlikely to get support for an expensive conference. And so we wanted to bridge that gap. We wanted to build an option that was so good and so practical and motivational at the same time that it would make sense for somebody that maybe hasn't broken 50,000 yet. It would make sense for them to make the effort to go. While if the conference was, $1,800 or $800, it's very hard to make that happen for them. So it's kind of a conference that I wish had existed when we started in the industry.
And we're really excited that it's on a Saturday because we do know financially it's hard to get support. Time away from your desk is hard to get support for. So having it on the weekend is a little bit different from most places, and we hope we can see a lot of people turn out that wouldn't otherwise have the chance.
Yep.
That part was crucial. If you're just starting out and you don't have a ton of vacation time, we wanted to make sure that you could still make it. So being on a Saturday was, I think, absolutely crucial for the type of conference. It was something we were not willing to compromise.
Yep. And it's in Chicago at the Navy Pier. So for most places in the country, it's a direct flight with lots of options. So even transportation-wise should be much more affordable than on a week trying to get there. So that's also a benefit. And then last but not least, I forgot about Insurance Jeopardy. I don't know how I forgot that. I'm gonna end up having to take care of that part of it. So I will take fun conferences in insurance for $600, Alex, and we'll end it there. So Carly, how can people register?
Go to insurancenerdsday.com. You will be linked directly to our registration site, and we'll be watching out for you there.
I will put that in the show notes. I will actually I think I'll put it right below us in the YouTube channel. So insurancenerdsday.com. And Carly, Tony, thank you. If you're watching, we made this conference for you. We made it affordable. We're going to make it exciting. We're going to make it interesting. Parting thoughts? Either one of you?
The time to register is now. Flights are not going to get any cheaper. Go ahead, register now, book your flight.
Fair point.
If you're trying to do it on a budget, Southwest or even Spirit might be worth it, even though I normally don't. Land in either O'Hare or Midway. There's 2 airports, so double the choices. And then the morning of the conference, you can easily take either the blue line from O'Hare or the orange line from Midway and be within just a few blocks. Also, it's a great family vacation. If you do have, a wife and kids, or a husband and kids, the Children's Museum is right there on Navy Pier. So make it a weekend.
Good point.
Come out, have fun in Chicago. It should be decent fall weather. It shouldn't be snow yet.
If you're going to go to Chicago, October's probably the best time.
Yeah.
Yep. Awesome.
So,
awesome.
Yeah,
okay.
The time is now.
Yep, I agree. The time is now. So for Carly and Tony, sign up, insurancenerdsday.com, and we hope to see you there. So for Carly and Tony,
see you in October.